everyone, it's been a while, since beginning of October last year, and now I'm just ready to make a little update of my collection. So as you know, for the Neo Geo AES, both in Japanese and US versions, I'm going to start off just by showing what I have in Japanese so far. I'm only 7 or 8 games close to the full set. These games are Masters of Tsugi, Waku Waku 7, Big Tournament Golf, Ninja Masters. I'm also missing Ninja Commando and another game, can't remember the one. These are the Japanese games I have, soft cases and hard cases. Burning Fight, launched by SNK in 1991, so it's one of the first beat them all games launched by the Neo Geo. Very taking game. I like the animations, the drama when they bring on, like the first stage boss and so on. Completely different game. This is a Mahjong game. Couldn't remember the name, obviously. I just played it once. We still have the Neo Geo logo seal right here. I also have it in non-sealed. Going with the Japanese culture, they love Mahjong games. The one right here. More common than the first one. One of the first releases, small mech count, Kyoretsuden. Probably you can tell me in the comments because I'm not so fond of these games except for the collectability, and I try to keep them in good condition. Also from the early 90s. Gangan, also known as Aggressors of Dark Combat. Great game actually, where you can actually take some extra weapons, which are disseminated in the different stages, so you can choose between a baseball bat, axe, stick, sword, whatever. It's really fun. It's developed by ADK. So this is Cyberlip. This is a platform/action game which was released also in 1991. A very early game. Nice graphics. It's a side-scrolling action platform game, so it's a forced scrolling game. This one is in very good condition too. It still has the original sticker. Always fun to play. Thrash Rally, also launched in 1991. The condition is pretty good. It has been, aging a little bit when you compare it to games such as Neo Drift Out or Overtop, obviously, but it's always nice to play. Sidekicks 2. This is a great classic for soccer fans out there. Probably one of the best and most successful arcade games that was released at the time in 1994. Yeah, it's a great game, especially when you play in versus mode. You have somewhere around between 24 to 36 teams to choose from. Great graphics, chance-focused screens where you can create yourself occasions to score. It's really nice. Super Sidekicks, the original. Obviously a little bit less good than the sequel. Still fun. Legend of Success Joe. Probably one of the crappiest games launched on the Neo Geo, but it has, in my opinion, a particular flavor to it. You're going to be fighting in the street and fighting on the boxing ring, so you alternate between both, but it's very repetitive and very basic. Robo Army, a great beat-them-all game. You like bashing robots and tech and metal humanoids, you'll like this one. It's really nice. It's one of the early stage games from 1991, 1992. The sound effects are really great, especially when it comes to bashing all those robots and breaking necks or legs and so on. Fatal Fury 2, the second episode of Fatal Fury series. This one actually has the original sticker from the store I bought it from, so you can guess it was quite a while back. Great game too. Art of Fighting 2, also known as one of the toughest versus fighting games out there. So it's really extremely hard. Incredible graphics, very big sprites, and you also have some special stages and bonus stages which are really nice. You're gonna go breaking through bottles or just destroying some planks of wood or whatever. Probably one of the most beautiful inserts. It's for Art of Fighting 1, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's really a great game, very sober, but I love this insert in black, really well rendered. So I have 2 copies of this game because I have a playable copy right here, and I also have a sealed copy, which is pretty nice to see. Football Frenzy. It's the only American football game that was released for SNK. It's a good game. Fire Suplex is one of the only wrestling games. It's a little bit frustrating because it's one of those games where you're gonna have to tap as fast as possible, the A or the B button in order to tap out your opponent once you're on him, once you tired him out. Fine detailed graphics. Actually, just seeing it like that makes me want to take it up again. World Heroes 2, it's one of the best versus games you will find on the platform. One is sealed, which you can see here. A must-have. World Heroes 1, good game, quite easy to play through, always enjoyable. Fatal Fury Special, one of the most accessible Neo Geo AES titles in terms of pricing. This one obviously is like heavily played gamer's copy, but I always enjoy taking it out. 3-1, so this is the original one from where it all started, 1991. A really great game. Only 3 characters to choose from: Joe Higashi, Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard. Great graphics, you can tell right here. Well detailed. You also have some awesome bonus stages to go through. Androdunos. This is a shoot-'em-up game. It's from 1992. It's a great game, actually. Completely underestimated and probably overlooked, but it's really a great game. Very much in the Nemesis or Gradius spirit. You can choose between different weapons, items, bonuses to choose from to evolve through the different stages. So it's particularly rare in Japanese. Resort. Awesome shoot-'em-up game. Incredible rendering. It wasn't the beginning of pre-rendered 3D, but almost. And quality of this game for its 45 meg count is mesmerizing. A basketball game, Dunk Dreams. Really nice. Basically a game you're going to want to play when you play Versus. Fighters History Dynamite, also known as Kurnov's Revenge. It's a Street Fighter-like versus game. Quite basic, but enjoyable. With a quite high level of difficulty. I took it the other week. Pretty hard to beat, especially in MVS difficulty. 8-Man. This is a side-scrolling action game where you're just incarnating a superhero and you just have to battle your way through different robots and techs, cars. It's a fast-paced game, so you're going to be taking it, probably playing it 15-20 minutes, and then you've had your dose. Sengoku 2. This is a great beat-em-all game. Medieval ninja with samurais and, different enemies to slice in half, basically. Miracle Adventure. This is a great platform action game. This one was produced also by Data East. You really have a feel of, that comical action / cartoon-like universe around the game. It's not so hard to complete, so I definitely recommend it. Viewpoint. This is like a 3D, 3/4 isometric shooter. View from half on top, half sideways. Very original. Launched in 1992. Incredible graphics, incredible rendering for 3D animation as well. Very hard. King of Monsters 2. You've got like 6 monsters to choose from, and you're just gonna battle yourself through different stages. Mutation Nation, another beat-em-all game. Post-apocalyptic punks in the future, battle their way through different suburbs and cities. Just take a look at the graphics, really nice. This copy is in really good condition. Baseball Stars 2, very good game, obviously for an American crowd or Japanese crowd for that matter, because it is a very liked sports. And 1975, Japanese version. This is probably the first game ever launched for the Neo Geo AES from 1990. This one made history. It's really one of the first ones launched. I think it's 30th December 1990. SNK was launched the Neo Geo officially. Crossed Swords. It's interesting because it's FPS games, first-person shooters. So you pretty much have the stage in front of you and you're going to have to battle your way through different combats, night fights and so on. It's medieval-inspired, obviously. So. League Bowling, the only bowling game. Very small meg count, but one of the first games ever launched. Samurai Shodown 2. This is number 1. The 2 is just like a classic. It's the kind of game which is quite easy to take up and you'll never be disappointed. Double Dragon, which is a versus fighting game. Relatively rare in Japanese and very rare and sought after in US. Flying Power Disc, aka Windjammers. A tennis-like game, except you play with frisbees. It's just very fast-paced, requires a lot of reflexes and very good, reactivity, but it's a great game, especially in versus. World Heroes 2 Jet. This is the sequel of World Heroes 2. So a few features added. I personally don't like this one. I prefer the animation and the movements in World Heroes 2. Top Hunter, Roddy and Cathy, action / platform game. I believe it's also Data East. Incredible game launched in 1994. Buy it and never look back. Galaxy Fights. It's also a versus fighting game. Difficulty in this game is pretty amazing. I'd be curious to hear about your opinion on this game. For me, it's a bit like the beginning of what then became a Voltage fighting Gaokaiser. Magician Lord, action platform game, magic inspired, very nice graphics. Here we have a detective / clue inquiry game, which is, I haven't been able to go through it since I don't speak Japanese or read kanji. It's always a little bit complicated, but it's a must-have, especially if you're aiming at the full set. The King of Fighters quiz game, so it's just like a quiz game such as Chibi Maruko-chan, except it's aimed at the King of Fighters series, obviously, but you probably have also some questions about other games. The insert is pretty cool, and I believe this one was launched in 1995, yeah. Sonic Wings 2, also known as Ira Fighters 2, where you can choose between 8 different characters, vertical scrolling game. Then we have some nice carton boxes. It's King of Monsters, pretty played and loved. I just found it at a thrift store, so I just bought it. Top Players Golf, first golf game for the Neo Geo. Early game, I think 1991. Yeah. Ghost Pilots. It's a vertical scrolling shooter. It's very repetitive and a little bit basic, especially when you compare it to Sonic Wings 2. Ninja Combat, the beat 'em all game, one of the first games to be released. It's really tough, to keep them in good condition, so it's part of the game. Sengoku 1. So we saw Sengoku 2 before. You also incarnate like different ninja masters which can transform into animals, have superpowers, so beat 'em all kind of game, so it's really nice. Mission 2. I'm really quite happy with the condition of this one, which is really nice. And I play it once in a while, even though I really need to be very cautious when I open Joy Joy Kid. This is like a puzzle Tetris-like game, really fun. Look at the graphics, particular and nice. One of the very early games. 75, very good condition. The very first game, carton box. Conservation in this game is pretty unique. I haven't played this one because I'm just very cautious of trying not to open here, Riding Hero, the only motorcycle racing game, which has a special feature. You can actually attach a micro jack exit. You can use actually play through phones, and you can also play up to 4 players, such as League Bowling. You can also link 4 Neo Geo consoles or 2 Neo Geo consoles to play 4 players. And then we have Magician Lord, but this one is in US, so it's really nice. NAM 75 US. So these are the Shockbox games, were released in 1995. Xenon Counter, which is a tag team game launched for the Neo Geo, which was pretty cool. Very big sprites, very nice graphics and animation. Cool soundtracks as well. Neo Geo Cup 98, which was launched for the World's Soccer in 1998. It's probably a little upgrade from Super Sidekicks 2. It's getting pretty tough to find actually nowadays. Sonic Wings 3, the sequel from Sonic Wings 2 that we saw before. Very, very cool shooter. So many different characters to choose from. You have 10, each with their unique special shoots and special bombs. Lovely insert also. Fighter Gaukazer versus fighting game. In my opinion, it's the sequel of Galaxy Fight. I like taking it up every once in a while. And I bought this one from Mandarake in Nakano, Tokyo. Well, I'm really, really impressed with the overall condition of the game because, as you know, Mandarake has some very strict standards for condition, so I definitely confirm it's the case, seeing the condition of this one, which was said to be BBB. Then we have the King of Fighters series. We have King of Fighters 94, which I have 2 copies of. King of Fighters 95, which is the first King of Fighters where you can actually choose freely your characters and customize your teams as you want. Whereas King of Fighters 94, you were supposed to choose from the Europe team, the American team, Japanese team, Chinese team, etc. King of Fighters 96, probably one of the most beautiful inserts you will find for a King of Fighters. Also a big increase in the meg count, 362 megs. King of Fighters 95 was 250, and King of Fighters 94, 196. Fighters 97, which is one of my personal favorites. Cool music, cool atmosphere, amazing artwork for the front insert, as you can see. It's really nice. King of Fighters 98, probably, well, in the opinion of most players, the best King of Fighters from the whole series. I'd say the most complete with King of Fighters 2002 and 2000. The OST is amazing in this game. King of Fighters 99, also a great insert with the arrival of some new players such as K, some other dark, shady, mysterious players. King of Fighters 2000, the only game which has an horizontal insert. I guess it's really to mark the beginning of the new millennium in a way, Fighters 2001. This is the Aru's period after the bankruptcy of SNK, unfortunately. You'll really see the difference in feel and animation and rendering of the characters, which are too cartoon-like based, which makes it slightly under the other ones. King of Fighters 2002. I'd say if I have to choose a versus fighting game for a nice evening, this one will definitely be part of my top 3 by default. No questions asked. Take a game, insert it in your console and just play. And many characters to choose from, cool music. King Fighters in 2003. Completely different motion in the graphics, in the sound effects, in the atmosphere. This one is characterized by the fact that you can switch from one character to another during the rounds. And as you can see, the rendering of the graphics is just amazing. It's also the game which has the highest meg count of the Neo Geo AES for the official games. 713 megs. Power Instinct Matrimele, very nice versus game. SVC Chaos launched in 2003. Art of Fighting 3, look at the different decomposition of the movement, it's just amazing. Probably the versus fighting game which offers the most beautiful animations and detail. Far East of Eden, Kabuki Clash, versus fighting game, more comic inspired a little bit with animals. Last Blade 1, Samurai versus fighting game. Last Blade 2, with a register card, good condition, launched in 1998. Then we have the Real Bout series, Fatal Fury 3. You continue with Fatal Fury Real Bout, which has the ring out possibility where you can actually throw your opponent off ring and you win the round. So this is pretty cool. The best one in my opinion, Real Bout Special, just an amazing game. Real Bout 2, high meg count, 539 megs. And then I skipped to Samurai Showdown 4, a very nice samurai versus fighting game. Samurai Showdown 5 Special, the last game ever released for the AES, dated from 2004. Quite technical. This is the fixed version. Yeah, I don't have that unfixed. Okay, so here we go to the Metal Slug series, which is the quintessence of action platform shooters for the Neo Geo. It really incarnates everything you want to see in an arcade game. In the quality, detailed graphics, backgrounds, animations, rock-inspired music with action, with comic influences. It's really the definition of the run-and-gun series you want to point out. So this is Metal Slug 5. Metal Slug 4, unfortunately this one is really faded, but I still like playing it. Slug 3, Japanese, I don't know what you guys think. For me, one of the top 3, all categories put together. Demonstration of the unique technical capabilities of the Neo Geo just before its bankruptcy, and it's just a masterpiece. Metal Slug X, probably the best Metal Slug in the series. The Golden Age. Then we have Metal Slug 2, one of the most beautiful inserts you'll find. Pretty hard to find. Metal Slug 1. This copy is unfortunately faded on the spine. Still very cool to have a genuine copy of the game. Being an unconditional Metal Slug fan, I just could not have it. Maruko-chan. It's like a quiz game, launched in 1995. I believe it was launched in 100 copies, only for the Japanese market. Faded, but it's genuine. Happy to get my hands on this copy. Star, which is in my opinion one of the best possible shooters you'll ever find for the Neo Geo. It's just a masterpiece in terms of graphic rendering, 3D rendering, the animation of the bosses, the atmospheres, the soundtracks are amazing. It's definitely on my top 5 best game for the Neo Geo AES. Blazing Star, probably the best shoot-'em-up game on the Neo Geo. Edited by Yumikobo in 1998. You have 6 or 7 different ships to choose from. Incredible stages, incredible soundtracks, very fast-paced, and you have a sort of combo system for high-score ranking play, which is really cool. It's very different from Polestar. You have to define and identify the patterns in terms of appearance of the enemies. This one is more adopting a few reflexes. Both are amazing. This one is more like adapted to the arcade, where you're going to be playing half an hour, maybe 40 minutes max. Shock Troopers Second Squad, rare game for the AES, a Metal Slug-like kind of game, except it's seen from up above, with different characters, different weapons, grenades, bombs, items, power-ups to collect. Launched by Saurus in 1998. Breakers. This is a very cool versus fighting game, quite rare, also released in 1996 by Visco. It's the closest game from Street Fighter in terms of style for a versus fighting game, so it's quite easy to play, and especially to get familiar with. Twinkle Star Sprites, puzzle bobble-like game, except it's with a shoot-'em-up flavor to it. Epic bosses, epic attacks, many different characters to choose from. Magical Drop 3, really cool variant of Puzzle Bobble in a way. You're just supposed to combo through building up lines with similar colors in order to flood your opponent. Quite rare in AES. I was really happy to find this copy in good condition. Magical Drop 2, this one was really nice and happy to have found it too, especially non-faded. Here is Stakes Winner 2, one of the only horse track racing game. Japanese are very fond of horse racetrack and bets. This game was just made for them. Quite basic, but very fun to play. And I really like the rendering of the insert. Stakes Winner 1, 1995. Personally, I prefer the 1 in terms of the way they represented the horse is kind of fatter, but more present on the screen than in the number 2. So I don't know what you think, but I personally have a hot spot for Stakes Winner 1. Really rare game, Overtop. It's a car racing game. Seen from on top, kind of 3/4, very fast paced, involves a lot of reflexes. One of my latest acquisitions, I'm really happy. Super Sidekicks 4, aka Ultimate 11, in very good condition, non-faded on the spine. I was really happy. By the way, I'm really thanking the person who contacted me for this game because he saw my YouTube channel and he just said, I really enjoy your involvement and your collection, so I'd be happy to part with this copy for you. So this was just amazing. He happened to come over to we discussed, we played a little bit, we found an arrangement, and this is the result. King Fighters 94 in US. This is like all the US stuff I have because I collect both Japanese and US. King Fighters 95. I just love these US inserts. I don't know what you guys think, but they're just so pure, and especially the spine. King Fighters 96. King Fighters 97. King Fighters 98. Probably the best King Fighters of all, as I was saying. King Fighters 99. Pretty hard to find. The SNK was producing less and less copies of US games. The NGF version of King Fighters 2000, which has had a whole reputation to it, because many detractors tend to say that it isn't something original. This copy happens to be one of the 100 copies that was actually released. I'm really happy to have found it. King Fighters 2001, King Fighters 2002 in dark gray. Probably one of the best King Fighters. We have a pretty rare game in US. World Heroes Perfect. It's Rage of the Dragons in 2003. After the bankruptcy of Neo Geo. Samurai Shodown 3. Very cool game. A very hard game also. And probably the less popular titles of Samurai Shodown series. Savage Rain US. So this is the first episode of what became later Kizuna Encounter. I don't have US Kizuna Encounter. The most rare game, as you know, for the Neo Geo AES. But this game is pretty huge too. We have Sengoku 3 US. This is the last Sengoku game of the series, which is really cool also. The pinnacle probably of my collection, which is the 6 Metal Slugs in US. Metal Slug 1 US, which I was very lucky to acquire in the beginning of June 2020. I went to collect this game in Amsterdam from a renowned collector who happened to have bought it from a quite well-renowned collector in the Netherlands. I mean, so in terms of tracing and history, I was able to find all the necessary information to make it sure that it's genuine. Then we have Metal Slug 2, which is one of my latest acquisitions, latest dating from October last year. Really happy to have this copy as well, because it's, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful inserts for a Neo Geo game. Metal Slug X. Incredible game. I mean, how can you not own this game if you have a Neo Geo? Except obviously for the price, but I mean, it's just the best game you will ever find. It's just amazingly beautiful. The graphics are great. The difficulty level is well balanced. The enemies are very, don't lack personality, shall we say. Metal Slug 3, the best one. Well, objectively the best one. Metal Slug 4, which was a little bit less liked from the Bredsoft Playmore era. And Metal Slug 5 with the double inserts. Full-size insert behind. Really great game too. And I'll just go fast through these. So here we have Baseball Stars 2, King of the Monsters 2, Karnov's Revenge, Top Hunter, Andro Duno's Art of Fighting 2, Robo Army, 3 count bouts 2 times, because I have one which is also sealed. And then we have Fatal Fury 1. Such a cool game. Look at this artwork, how a little bit naive and old school it is, but it's just so great. Fatal Fury 2, Fatal Fury Special, World Heroes 2, World Heroes 2, World Heroes 2 Jet, Sengoku 2, Samurai Shodown, Aggressors of Dark Combat, aka Gan, Mutation Nation, Ninja Commando, Spin Master, Viewpoint, Last Resort, Arrow Fighters 2, Super Sidekicks 2, Last Resort, League Bowling, 8-Man, Burning Fight, Alpha Mission 2, Football Frenzy, and Super Baseball 2020. Couldn't end this segment without just inserting a card. So let's try this little baby out here. I just can't help myself from taking the card out and wanting to play with it, baby.
Metal Slug 2. Thank you. Heavy machine gun.
So you see, this mass stick was also custom built, and it's really the true arcade experience you have in your hands. Wow. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. It was a pleasure to share this collection with you. I hope you liked the video, so feel free to comment. And see you soon for the next adventures.